Alright, so everybody knows you have kids so you can live vicariously through them. Maybe your dreams didn't come true, so you're gonna, force your offspring to do what you wanted to do. But the thing about kids is they can't do anything until they're at least 3. I mean, walking, talking, no. You gotta wait 3 years, basically. Nobody has that much time to wait. So I'm gonna show you how you can use a few simple techniques in Photoshop to start the dream achievement a little sooner. So let's say you wanted to be a snowboarder. I found this image right here on Google. That looks pretty good. I mean, I could see my son or daughter tearing it up on this just like that guy, but way better. So let's dig through and look through one of the 1,000 pictures you got of your kid, and depending on what you're looking for, find a pose that would match. In this case, I think it'd be pretty cool to have a snowboard go right through here. And so I made this snowboard in Maya. If you don't have Maya, don't worry, you probably have a life, maybe even friends. But anyway, so I rendered it out, kind of matched the lighting of this picture kind of coming from here. So, and it has an alpha channel, which is just a black and white image. White is what you can see, black is what you can't. Gray values would be transparent or semi-transparent. So let's get started. Let's bring in our little dude here. Control A, Control C. And we'll bring them into our background picture by hitting Control V. And what we're going to do is use a quick mask, which is this button. What that does is basically paint an alpha channel for this layer. You could go around and erase it, but you're probably going to mess up. And what this will do is let you edit that instead of ruining your picture. It's non-destructive editing. So let's zoom in here, get our brush out, make sure we have black, and we'll start painting our background away. I'm going to soften my brush up a little bit and get close so we make this as best we can. And this is going to take a couple seconds, but the better job you do, the better it'll look. But for the sake of time, I'm going to run through this pretty quick. Let's say, oh no, I messed up really bad. What you can do, instead of Control Z out of it, you can switch your colors to white and paint white back on it. So this way, you're never going to ruin your picture that you started with. And you don't have to worry about running out of memory that your undos are stored in. So H is the hotkey for hand. That's how I remember it. I don't know what it's called. But B is brush, and we'll switch our colors by hitting X. And we'll keep painting around. And we're going to end up shrinking this down so we can get rid of some detail. We'll be alright. This is going to be the longest portion of what you need to do. Everything else is pretty simple. But for the sake of time, I'm just going to go through this really poorly. Maybe I'll feather this out a little bit more so I can go faster. And the cool thing about Quick Mask is if, for now I'm just going to go in here and do this really fast. But later I can come back in here and clean it up without having to worry about having an edited picture. Which is very nice. We're not going to see his foot, so we can just not worry about that. So, cool deal. Let's make sure the rest of it's going. And the brackets are the hotkey to grow and shrink your brush. Alright, so we're getting somewhere already. That's pretty cool. Let's see, we missed a spot. Just another spot. I'm going to turn this off just so you can see a little better. And we won't worry about it right now. Alright, so let's bring in our snowboard. And to make sure we only get the snowboard, you can go into your alpha channel, holding down Control on a PC. You click that, and it will select what's in your alpha channel. And then you can make sure you have your right layer selected, Control C, and paste it in here. And I don't want to really make this any bigger, so I'm going to go and shrink this guy down by hitting Control T. And make sure I can see everything. Zooming out, Z, and then Alt will do the alternate function, or zoom out. So with the baby layer selected, Control T, and I'll try and make that look about right. Maybe a little smaller. And maybe a little bit smaller. Alright, that looks good. Alright, we can go in here. And then, like, to get his hand over the top, we can do another quick mask, which is this button right here. There's layer selected, and go in and just get rid of some of the board here. And see, oh, I got way too much, so I can hit X, switch my colors, and paint it back in. And, you know, I'm not going to worry about that quite yet. Alright, so let's put these two in a group. I don't know why Shift's not working. But we can drag it down to a folder and put that one underneath it. Oh, we wanted it on top. There we go. Okay, so now we can take this and rotate both of them at the same time. And this kid's going to be crazy awesome at snowboarding, so let's get him all the way upside down. Pretty cool. Zoom out here, see where we're at. He's a little big in frame, so Control T. With the group selected, we can, holding down Alt and Shift will scale him uniformly around that pivot, which is right here. And we'll worry about the guy behind him later. For now, we're just worried about sizing this up. So he's actually a good reference. So he's probably about that big, maybe a little bigger. There we go. Alright, cool. And you know, to make this even more dynamic, what we could do is essentially cut his arm off and move it out over here, so it looks even more real. So we'll select the baby layer, drag it down on top of our new layer button. We'll get rid of that, and on this one, let's only keep his arm. So we'll select click our quick mask over here, and see, that brings it back. Let's just go in and get rid of everything but his arm. Let's hide the snowboard so we can see what we're doing. So, alright, we just got his arm. Let's bring that back up. And we can click on this and move it to about where his shoulder is and rotate it out. looks pretty good. Alright, so now in here, on the original one below it, where his arm is normal, let's hit our S, which is stamp over here in your toolbar. And we'll do the clone stamp. This is an old version of Photoshop, CS2, so it gets a lot fancier than what I can do here, but same principles. So holding down Alt, I'll sample a color, and then I can start painting out where his arm would be. Alright, and then I can go to Quick Mask and just erase his arm completely. Oops. Fix that. Alright, so bring the board back. Yeah, that's looking a lot better. Let's actually rotate his arm out a little bit farther to increase the gnarly. There we go. That looks cool. Alright. And then in the quick mask of this, I can get rid of some of this. You know, this is so small, no one's going to be the wiser. So it's looking pretty good. So, now, to get rid of, let's hide this whole group. Well, let's leave it on actually, so we can see what we only have to deal with. Zoom in, and we'll use our clone stamp by hitting S again. Sample some of these colors and start painting out some of this guy's board. Maybe we'll keep some snow up in here. Sample back here and get rid of it back here. Let's see, we got a little problem there. It's on that layer. So go to our quick mask, and with black we'll paint it out. And then go click on here for a color, and maybe stamp some of his leg back in. Excellent. Alright, back to our background. Clone stamping out his head. Excellent. Alright, I see a couple more issues with there. Fix that up. Alright, we're getting somewhere. That looks pretty good actually. So to add even more, I know they have this in CS3, but let's see if it's still here. Alright, now is probably a good time to save everything, because what I'm going to do is, with the group selected, I'm going to flatten all three of these layers, because I'm going to add a motion blur to it to just add to the realism, because, you know, I got to start living my dreams, right? So I'm going to flatten image. That's not what I wanted to do at all. Let's see. We'll apply it. I'm hitting Control E because I have to. We'll merge them all down. So now he's all on one layer. I'm going to go up to Filter, Blur, and Motion Blur. It does have it. Very cool. But the thing is, I only want part of him to be blurred. So I'm going to cancel that, and I'm going to duplicate my layer. And I'm just going to blur the crap out of this one. Well, maybe not the crap out of it, but I'm going to blur it. The whole thing. And then we'll mask another one over top of it to show the blur of where we want it. So first, let's get our motion blur. He's kind of headed in that direction. And It's kind of much compared to the rest of the scene. So let's see what half looks like. Good enough for me. So what we can do is do another quick mask on this guy and just paint out. I can show you what it looks like if I zoom in. So with B selected, paint out where we want the blur to live. So his arm's probably going really fast, so we can leave it there. Let's clear up his body a little bit. And maybe let's feather this out a whole bunch and just do the leading edge of the board. Oops. And there you go. Alright, so it might be hard to see, but the colors are off a little bit on here. He's kind of green like he was, you know, getting some spill from this blanket probably. This is a really blue image. So what you can do, I think in CS2 you can go layer, do adjustment layer, and let's do curves. Okay, and this might do it to my entire image, I'm not sure. It does. You should be able to do it to just the group, but in CS2 maybe not. So I'll select this layer, and I'm going to flatten them again by hitting Control E. Actually, you have to select the top one, and it'll merge down. So if you have a newer version of Photoshop, you shouldn't have to do that, but I'm stuck right now. So with that layer selected, we'll go to layer. Let's see here. Image adjustments, and we'll get our curves out. And like I said before, he's a little green, so let's select our green channel and pull a little bit of it out. It might be a little much. Okay. Let's see what he looks like now. He might be a little bit saturated too, so image adjustments, hue and saturation, and we'll just desaturate him ever so slightly. Let's crank it down and then come back up. It's pretty good. Okay, maybe one more curves adjustment. We'll add a little bit more blue. Alright. So now he's looking like he's really in the scene. He's blue. He's got motion blur like he would be traveling this way. Maybe he's a little too blue. What I should have done is with it selected, gone layer, new adjustment layer. And that way you can make all your adjustments on this. Oh, that's right. It goes all the way down. I forget. Let's see. Layer adjustments. New adjustment layer curves. Then use previous layer to create clipping masks. So since it's got an alpha, it'll only be on there over the previous layer. So now if I do it, yeah, it'll just affect him, and then I can hit OK. I can turn it off. We still have the original. I can go back in here. Theoretically, yes I can, and adjust it to what it should have been. So he's, I don't know, too blue or something. Actually, look better. You can play with all three colors or individual RG and B channels. And over here is kind of some funky gamma or something. I'm not really sure what it is, honestly, but it does stuff. Cool. But, you know, now you got a snowboarding baby.